Hey guys, YouTuber 100 here. Alright, now here I am with another Halloween movie review. Here I am with a review for Halloween H20, or 20 years later, the, the, as the full title. Yeah, Halloween H20 20 years later is like its full title, but yeah, a lot of people just like refer to this as Halloween H20, so yeah, that's just what I'm going to be calling it. So, yeah, so this film is like considered by I think like the most people to probably be the best of all of the original Halloween sequels. Yeah, even like the consensus on Rotten Tomatoes says Halloween H2O is the best of the many sequels. It still pales in comparison to the original Halloween. So yeah, I think that is like the general consensus that this is the best Halloween sequel. Is it mine? Personally, I don't think that this really is the best sequel. I would say the best sequel is probably just like the second movie, which is, since like that really just basically does continue the events like right from the original film, and yeah, it basically like follows immediately after the original film. So yeah, I think the first sequel is the best one. Yeah, Halloween 2. But as far as this one goes, I do think that this probably is like the next best one after that because yeah, the last two that I've reviewed have really sucked, and so yeah, I think that this is overall it is a decent sequel. Yeah, and I mean yeah, the story for this film it is basically like pretty simple overall. Really, just the story for this is really just Laurie Strode has returned and it's like showing like what has happened with her and like what she's really been doing since obviously she wasn't really dead and as like the fourth film was saying, yeah, this is just showing like what she's been doing, and she's really just been like hiding for the last 20 years from Michael Myers, just like going into basically an exiled life, living under a different name. So yeah, it's basically just like her, like basically like trying to just um hide from Michael Myers and just like basically trying to get her life together. And it's showing that she is still like haunted by the events in the original film, but yeah, she also like living in fear of Michael returning and stuff. But it's like showing that she's living a life with another son under like a new name, as I said. So yeah, and yeah, basically it's like in this film, like we do get like the next confrontation, like another one between Michael and Laurie, and that's really like the what this film is culminating to, just a confrontation between the two of them once again. And that's basically like the story for this film. It's basically just like another confrontation between Michael and Laurie, and that's really just the main concept of the film. And there's really not really much else to it than that. So yeah, like I said, like in the previous film, that was Doctor Loomis's last film. Yeah, that was the final film that had Doctor Loomis in it because Donald Pleasance had died that same year. So yeah, there's no Doctor Loomis in this film. But yeah, we do have a like I was just saying, yeah, Jamie Lee Curtis is back as Laurie Strode, and of course, like we do have Michael Myers, of course, yeah, and in this film also do have some people like LL Cool J in this film. There's Michelle Williams. Uh, there's Adam Arkin, and Joseph Gordon-Levitt does make an appearance at the beginning of this film. And in this film, we also do have Nancy Stevens, and she returned back as Marion Chambers, who was Dr. Loomis's colleague, who was in the second film. Yeah, you remember her, one that like was ordering Dr. Loomis back to Smith's Grove. So yeah, she makes an appearance back at the beginning of this film, but yeah, she ends up being killed by Michael Myers at the beginning of the film. So yeah, yeah, and yeah, I do think that this overall it is a decent film. I mean, yeah, especially like compared to the last two that I have like reviewed, this was definitely like a step up from that. I mean, like I said, it is like a pretty like simple story, but yeah, it's not really like the story's not really told horribly or anything, and it's not a horrible film. But yeah, this film just really does seem to like pass by. I mean, I was just watching this, and it was just seeming like to go by like pretty fast. Like it wasn't like something where you were just like watching it, and it just like seemed to go by like really slowly and stuff. Like the movie just like seemed to go by like really quick. Because yeah, I mean, it was just a very simple story overall. So yeah, I think just like when you have simple stories like this, it just really the film just seems to like move on like pretty fastly, and that was the case here. So yeah, and yeah, it's shown in this film that like I said, Lori, she's living like a different life under a different name, and it's showing that she now has a son, and she's like kind of like overprotective of her son because she doesn't want anything like happening to him, like what happened to her. So yeah, he really just doesn't let him like go out and stuff. And yeah, and this film was like showing that she doesn't really want him to go on a trip, but yeah, she eventually like does end up like coming around and allowing him to go, even though like he doesn't actually go, which I'm gonna talk about in this review. Yeah, but yeah, it's just like showing that she just really is like wanting to really protect him to make sure that he doesn't go through the same thing she did with Michael Myers and stuff. So yeah, and it's shown that she also does have a relationship going on in this film. She has the life she's living. She's a headmistress uh, for an academy, and she has a relationship with the guidance counselor. So yeah, there's like a relationship blooming between them in this film. Though yeah, it's a pretty forgettable relationship, and there's also her son having his own relationship with a girlfriend and stuff. So yeah, and yeah, the deaths in this film, really they don't really happen. Like, there's not really a whole lot of deaths shown on camera. Like, a lot of them are like happen like off screen stuff. Like Michael Myers ends up like killing the best friend of Laurie's son, but yeah, that ends up like happening like off camera. We don't actually see him do it, and yeah, there's like showing where Michael Myers is also like killing like the best friend's girlfriend, and yeah, really like we don't actually see like that actual death happening on camera. Like it's shown like when she is killed, but it's not showing like the murder itself. So yeah, yeah. So yeah, a lot of the deaths in this film really do happen like off camera, or well, off screen, really. So yeah, it is just like yeah, it seemed like the violence in this film was kind of like toned down a little bit. But yeah, we do like also get to see like some violent moments in here, like where the best friend's girlfriend's leg ends up being crushed, and also of course like what happens like at the end of this film, which I'll talk about when I get to that in this film. But yeah, so we do like get some violence in here, but yeah, all some of with the murders themselves, they kind of seem like a little bit toned down because since they do have them like off screen. But yeah, I do think it is an overall decent film. I mean, not a whole lot to it, but yeah, I think like for the story that this film tells, I felt like really this was just like a reintroduction of Laurie Strode into the series, and yeah, that's pretty much like what we got with this. So yeah, because yeah, this film really doesn't really have any continuation from the previous three films at all. It really does like kind of like continue with the story with Laurie Strode and reintroducing her in the film. So yeah, I really think that it does its job just fine. So yeah, it is a decent film. I would give it probably 2.5 stars. All right, so yeah, let me just talk a little bit about the film. Yeah, like I said, it is a pretty like simple plot overall, so I'm probably just gonna skim right through it pretty quickly. Right. So the film opens up a couple of days before Halloween in 1998, which, yeah, by the title H20, it's set like 20 years after the events of the original film. Yeah, and it's showing that Dr. Loomis's colleague Marion Chambers returned to her home in Langdon, Illinois, and when she got home, she saw that her house was burglarized, and then she had like her teenage neighbor Jimmy, who was played by Joseph Gordon-Levitt, and his friend Tony call the police and stuff, and then yeah, they were like trying to pretend that the whoever broke into her house like trashed it, and it was of course it was actually them who were really trashing it. Yeah. Yeah, and as they like ended up like leaving, it was then shown that uh Mary and them like saw the file on Laurie Strode, just like laying around, And yeah, of course, like she was like presumed dead after like an automobile accident, as it was said in the fourth film. Yeah, and then like she then tried to rush over to Jimmy's house, but then yeah, it showed like Michael Myers was like briefly shown in Marion's house, and he just like disappeared all of a sudden. And then when she got to Jimmy's house, it showed that Jimmy was dead, and well, he was dead. Like the murder itself was actually off camera, but when it showed it, it was just showing like there was like an ice skate or something like sliced right into his face. So yeah, another kind of violent death right there. Yeah, yeah, and Tony was killed as well, and then. Michael Myers then ended up appearing all of a sudden, and then he ended up attacking Marion and then slit her throat, killing her too. Who, yeah, yeah, and then yeah, the police then ended up like arriving, but yeah, Michael was able to escape, and he also had Laurie's file with him. Yeah, and then it showed that Laurie was now living like a different life in California, and it was revealed that she just ended up faking her death to avoid any further complications with Michael, and she now had a 17-year-old son, John, and he also had a girlfriend, Molly. And stuff. Yeah, and like I said, she's kind of like overprotective of John. Like there's like this trip going on because yeah, Lori is now like living under a different name, Carrie Tate, and she's now like a headmistress of the Hillcrest Academy, and John is attending that school also. And there's like a trip going on, like it's an overnight trip to Yosemite National Park, and Lori like wouldn't let John go because she just wanted him to be safe since it was Halloween. Yeah, yeah, and and it showed that well, Lori was also in a relationship with the guidance counselor, Will Brennan, as I said before. Yeah, yeah, and it's like I said earlier, it's also like it has shown that Lori is still haunted by the events from 20 years ago, and yeah, it's just like she's really just trying to get her life together and just like really hoping that nothing ever comes like anything between her and Michael ever again. Yeah, yeah, and then yeah, it's then like shown that Michael ended up like stealing a car at a rest stop, and that day, like when the students at the academy were getting ready to leave for that trip to Yosemite National Park, then Lori then like decided to let John go on the trip. But yeah, John, like, of course, like he decided not to go. Oh, and he was like gonna throw a Halloween party with uh, Molly as well as his two friends, Charlie and his girlfriend Sarah. And yeah, they just were having their party in the school basement, and then eventually, then Michael ended up arriving at the school, and he just stopped the car right in front of the gates, and then he just ended up like abandoning the car, and the security guard of the uh, school, Ronnie, and was like trying to inspect the car and just see if there was anyone in it. And as he was inspecting it, Michael ended up like sneaking into the school. Oh yeah, and a thing like showed that over time, as a Charlie was in the school kitchen and stuff, like he ended up being killed by Michael Myers after like Michael ended up just like slitting his throat, and then Sarah found the Charlie's body, and then she tried to escape from Michael Myers after he found her through the dumbwaiter, but then yeah, Michael ended up like crushing her leg and then ended up stabbing her to death. Yeah, and then yeah, that night as Lori was like being with Will, she then like ended up admitting her true identity. Hey, and then it was eventually like discovered that Michael actually had arrived at Hillcrest, and then yeah, Lori and Will then like were just went out to search for John and Molly. Yeah, and then and eventually like John and Molly then as they were like going to like try to look for Charlie and Sarah after they didn't come back to the party. They eventually like came across Michael Myers and he was chasing them down. And then yeah, at one point, as Michael was trying to attack them, and he went after Sarah, or no, not Sarah, Molly, and uh, John tried to fight Michael off, and Michael had actually ended up stabbing John in his leg at one point, and then they were trying to run from Michael, and then Lori and Will eventually like ended up helping them, and then it showed like Lori and Michael then were just like face to face once again, and and Lori then was just like trying to like keep John and Molly safe, and then at one point as Will and Lori were like trying to look for where Michael was, they then like thought they saw Michael, and then ended up just shooting him down, but it turned out it was really just Ronnie who was just patrolling the hallway. Yeah, and then Michael then ended up actually appearing, and then he killed Will by stabbing him in the back. Yeah, and then Lori was able to get John and Molly out of school and just had them like drive off to get help, and then she then decided to just face off with Michael once and for all and finish their issue. Yeah, just finish the everything that had been happening between them. Yeah, and then she eventually then came in tact with Michael once again, and then she ended up stabbing him and eventually pushed Michael off of a balcony. And after she was gonna like try to fatally stab him, Ronnie then appeared, and it like was revealed that the gunshots had just grazed him, and he survived through it. Yeah, and he just ended up stopping Lori from actually killing Michael. Yeah. And then later on, once authorities then arrived and were treating like the John and Lori and everyone that survived, they were treating them for their attacks. Then it showed that Michael ended up being like loaded up into like a coroner's van, but Lori ended up like just like threatening the authorities to just let her take his body in a van, and then she then drove off in a van with Michael's body, and then Michael then like appeared to just uh, regain consciousness, and it looked like he was trying to attack Lori, but then Lori ended up stopping short, and then caused Michael to just fly right through the windshield. And then once he got back up, Lori then like drove the van right into Michael, and then it just like drove right down a steep hill, and then it just like pinned Michael in between like a fence post in the van, and Lori ended up like tumbling out of the van as well. Yeah. Then it just showed like her just looking right at Michael, and I just showed that Michael was just like reaching out to Lori, like pleading for help, and like at first it seemed like Lori was actually like considering the help, and but then like when she looked into his eyes, she then just like hesitated, and then just ended up like decapitating Michael with a fire axe, and he it finally did kill him, and then the movie then just ended with like Lori just like giving a relieving sigh, and then it cut to credits. So it seemed that Lori had finally finished Michael off and finally did destroy him, or so she thought. And it would be revealed like in the next film, Resurrection, what really happened there. But I'll get to that next time. But as far as this film goes, like I said, 2.5 stars out of 4. I mean, it is a decent film, I guess. I mean, very simple story, but I guess it did its job. Like I said, it was basically like I guess just a thing to just reintroduce Lori back into the series and just continue like story arcs between her and Michael. And we got that in this film, and then it would like continue on in the next film as well. So overall, I think it's a decent film overall. I mean, it is like I said, it just seems to pass by like pretty quick. But if you're interested, if you do want to see like a redeemer and finally see something back with Laurie Strode after being like 3 films in the franchise, that 3 of the actual films that really with the Michael Myers stories anyway. Yeah, if you actually do finally want to see another thing between Michael and Laurie, you can definitely check this film out. And it is like yeah, it does do its job, I think. So yeah, it is a decent film, I guess. All right, so yeah, so this does it for my review of Halloween H2O. I hope you guys enjoyed what I had to say about this film, and so yeah, and stay tuned next time when I will be getting into like the final film of the original Halloween series, and yeah, we can talk about like what this ending in this film actually what really happened in this ending. So yeah, stay tuned for that next time. But and I hope you guys enjoyed this review. So yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.